That's right, ladies and gentlemen, live from BlasterPro's studios in BlasterPro's basement, we have Shop Talk tonight with BlasterPro Charles Chuck Craig.
Thank you very much, Matthew.
And I am, of course, Matt Ewan Wells.
We've decided that the Matt's Back theme will not be used unless you're gone more than 2 weeks. And you just said you're going to be gone 2 weeks?
At least 2 weeks, yeah.
No. Hayden's actually making a new one.
Because I'll be back.
Yeah, I specifically had Rodney put up that Matt sucks just for the camera.
I'll be back. So how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing okay. I'm not out of town.
Well, that's good.
Although my out of town really wasn't as bad.
I heard you got down there, had nothing to do, and went to...
I did go to Universal.
Went to Universal,
I did, because I literally, they did not have something for me to do for 2 days, so I went to Universal.
Cool.
That was fun. That was. They have this, like I said, they have like a single rider line where they basically just say, you go this way, and then they send you straight to the front of the line. It's kind of fun.
It's the Lonely Guy Club.
It is, but I had my headphones in, listened to a book all day, just wandering around doing nothing.
So basically what they do is they take social losers that have no friends that go to amusement parks, major amusement parks by that way, and use them to fix a problem, and that's the problem of the three-person group.
Exactly. Yes. Perfect.
Matt is always
I will
the fourth
tell
person.
you that the Harry Potter Escape from Gringotts ride
is
so it cups your nuts kind of like this, and if they're sitting on top at all, they have this other bar. The bar comes down and comes right on, almost on top of that bar, and it will squish your nuts in between. I'm just letting you know right now.
It's always nice to be held into a ride by your nuts.
It made sure I didn't move. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I was like, ooh, that's they're like, can you push that down anymore? I'm like, no, I cannot. Being honest.
I was going to say something, but it's inappropriate for children.
When is it not inappropriate?
Guess whose birthday it is today?
It's not mine.
I wore a special hat for a special person.
Is it Hernan's birthday?
It is Hernan's
Happy birthday, Hernan. We are so happy to have you here.
We're Facebook friends.
I don't get on Facebook enough to know who's
we know this. We know this. And also, while I was out eating dinner, we ran into another friend of the show. Sunday. It was a fluke because we never go out to dinner because we're always at my parents' house.
Matt Meyer.
Yes.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
And that was really cool to see, he does really exist. And,
it's not just somebody some bot we've got set up in the background.
He's not a Russian bot.
I mean, he may be, but that's a whole other subject.
So, yeah, besides that, how you been? Oh, I've been okay. When did you get back in town?
It was Friday, and apparently I lucked out because some of the people I was working with were not able to get their flights because
yeah, that's right. You were talking about
flights got canceled. It was terrible,
and there was really nothing really major going on.
Well, I mean, it's spring break.
Is that?
And I think a lot of flights got overbooked, but they canceled a bunch of flights too. But it's really the lower end providers.
Yeah, and we already know you're not going high end.
I am.
Company trip.
I am. I go
first
nonstop. No, I can't go first class, but I can go nonstop without an issue. So
you don't have to stop in Atlanta like the rest of the world.
Well, that's the thing is, if I do that, then I'm a big guy, and that takes 2 flights, and it might be cheaper, but it's a pain in the ass for me.
They don't make you buy 2 seats, do they?
They do not. They don't Kevin Smith me. They don't Kevin Smith. I'm just small enough, and I will never be able to say this again, but I'm just small enough to where I can fit in 1 seat.
So, besides that, what else has been going on this week? It's kind of been slow at work. We've kind of had that whole can't get no parts thing.
Yep. Supply lines are still an issue.
It's like it's a combination of can't get any parts and dealerships you can't get in to get anything done. Although Jeremy was able to get into the dealership with no problem, and they got him for like $1,500. I think it was brakes.
That's nuts.
Brakes.
$1,500 for brakes?
I've never paid anybody to do my brakes, so I don't know what.
Yeah, but $1,500 for brakes?
There was one other thing they were doing.
Was it brakes, rotors, and everything else involved, like front and back?
I think it was $1,300 for his brakes.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. So
That's
anyway,
retarded.
yeah, I said, dude, that's a lot of money, but I said, just make sure they're putting genuine Toyota parts on your car.
Pay less for the tires.
Yeah, and then he just got tires. Yeah, well, I mean, his business, what he does, he wears his car out pretty quick.
Yeah.
He's over 100,000 miles on that thing, and he bought it when he was here.
Diesel Pete.
Dude, think about it.
That's less than 3 years.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. That's yeah. So Etsy's been fairly busy.
Etsy.com/shop/BlasterPro for all your blaster needs. In case you actually want to see this stuff, then you want to go over to BlasterProShop.com.
We have not really fixed BlasterProShop.com yet.
So basically, you can see everything on Blaster Pro
You
and
can
then
see
buy
everything,
it on Etsy.
and no, you can make arrangements. I have sold several things through there, but we're not doing a very good job of figuring out how to do it, and it just makes me crazy when I go in there and work on it.
I mean, your IT needs to really step up the game.
I wanted Hayden to learn it because I figured it'd be a good skill for him since he's young and his brain is still malleable, unlike mine.
There's still got some squishy parts in there.
Mine has stress cracks.
Yep. I know the feeling. Some of those neurons stopped firing a while back. And I don't know why.
But I am
They're like,
slowly
I give up.
putting. I've actually started this week casting extra parts when I'm casting blasters.
Okay.
I am casting extra
You used to
parts.
do that a lot.
I used to do that all the time. I'm casting extra parts to start putting together other blasters.
Okay.
And it's not really an issue of where I'm never going to sell the things. So I'm slowly going to build up the Etsy page again. I really never have really just been happy with Etsy since the whole
Debacle.
yeah, just the tip thing.
just the tip, baby. Just the tip.
And I was thinking, I have no idea for this month's contest.
On the 26th?
On the 26th, this month, we're going to give something away and we're going to do some sort of trivia. We just don't know what it is.
What are these guys?
Oh, want to give this one away?
You can give that one away.
No, we're not giving that
Okay,
away.
we're not gonna give that.
We're
away.
not giving this away.
We will figure out what it is. It's not going to be this giant bastard. This is actually a real one. We'll get to it, but we're not going to get there yet.
Yeah.
You need something. There you go. Get the middle. Maybe a custom. Maybe a helmet. We'll figure something out. I do. My nephew would like to purchase one the next time you do an actual mold run.
Which one?
The new, like an actual, like new mold of it.
Of the
helmet.
The Mando.
Yeah.
Okay. I have all the materials, and Hayden,
I know. I
Hayden
just told
and
him to get a decent one instead of, I
Right.
recognize.
Well,
I showed him the B-cast and he thought it was great, and I was like, I'm going to tell you to wait until he gets everything running. It's going to cost you like $150 to $175. I don't know what this logistics there, maybe
Okay.
$200. I told him it was going to cost a little bit of money, but it'll be a good helmet and he'll be happy with it.
Cool. Hayden and I were observing. Actually, Hayden's been keeping this. What's my biggest video up to so far? 2,000
views. How
2,000 views.
does that include how many times you watch it on the loop?
No, I've not even watched it, but I think I've only watched it once with him.
You watched it around.
It's the build video for
Yep.
it's the mold making video for I'm thinking we're gonna make a real one this time because that one doesn't have any commentary or anything, and it's just music and it's just showing the process
Well,
going through.
In that case, you would have to do commentary over it so you can tell people what's going on.
You'll probably never do.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I might just do? We might just do text on the bottom. I don't know.
That's
I hate it. Like
taking an easy cop out route.
where's it at? I just
You know what? If you put the stuff, like if you put notes on everything you want said during specific spots, I will record it for you, sir.
will you do it in your sexy voice?
Which one?
Your sexy one, not the Miss Piggy
The
voice.
Kermit one?
Not that one.
You want me to record it as so? Right now, I'm putting magnets into the resin, and that should really stabilize everything.
That's been the biggest. That was one of the biggest comments.
Hayden's trying to hold back laughter. I just want to toss that out there.
That was one of the biggest comments.
Oh, look! I made a happy helmet.
Oh. There it is. No, that's the Mere Sun Power 5 video. He said that's like Bob Ross.
Because the energy is so.
Bob Rossi.
It is extremely Bob Ross. You became the. That's why we bought the wig for you. So you can be the Bob
by the
Ross
way,
Blasters.
we haven't plugged these in a while. I still have yet to have only sold one of these.
You sold one?
Okay, I have given away 3.
Jesus Christ.
One of them was damaged. We know who damaged it. But anyway,
Jeff damaged it.
these are still available. I've been making, they're actually been, since it's such a smaller blaster, if I have a decent amount of waste material,
Just dump it in.
it's going in here. So I've been making these. He's got one upstairs he plays with.
I don't. You sat
You
in
should see
front
him.
of
He's
me.
playing Doom, and it's like.
You sat in front of him.
No, I did sit in front of him. He is not entertained by pretty much anything that I do.
That makes sense. My son isn't either.
I mean, I built that gigantic movie screen when he was a little kid.
Yep.
And he was not impressed. Not impressed.
It's just a frame with a sheet in the middle.
See? But we had movies, 25-foot screen. Movies.
It was a 10 by 20 foot screen. I
Well,
know
it was
because
12
I helped.
by 20 foot. We sewed it.
Yeah,
We did that 2 years in a row.
Yep.
And each year we sewed a new screen.
had to because it would the wind would just demolish it.
Yeah. We used what we used was those white vinyl topped tablecloths, not the cheap thin ones, the ones that actually have a little bit of a cloth on the backside of it. It's vinyl topped on top. Those don't do good with UV radiation.
Mm-hmm.
So by the end of the summer, a good gust of wind starts tearing the seams. But we just put the frame up, and we know we figured it out, and we knew exactly how to sew it every year.
Yeah.
So it's pretty easy to do. And then we set it up and watched movies all summer. The night Larry got stuck in my neighbor's front yard, I think he was
Halloween.
Yeah, we were watching.
Jaws?
No, we were watching the first time you ever saw Nightmare on Elm Street.
I still don't think I saw all of it.
So we watched Nightmare on Elm Street the year you stopped trick-or-treating.
So we'll figure out what the giveaway is and what the actual blaster.
might be
Another Mando?
Might be
Another Mando. What are
You know, that's not a terrible idea at all.
Yeah.
Painted, all painted.
All painted, finished.
So we plugged Etsy. We plugged the giveaway.
Yes.
Did the intro, which leads us into
So this
all this cool shit. That's
So
in front of me right
we
now.
decided this month's discussion.
Don't I look like a badass with this sitting in front of me? Like not even holding it. I look like a badass with this thing sitting in front of me.
It is fun though, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Like it's heavy. It's at least right now it's only about 17, 18 pounds.
Unloaded with a barrel, it's 26, almost 27 pounds.
So 17 to 18 is about right. The barrel is heavy
Yeah,
as
the
shit.
barrel's about 5 pounds.
So
We put the actual barrel inside of the
No, the barrel's not in here.
shield.
No,
so
because I didn't want to.
It's because it's even heavy.
it's heavy
even heavier.
and
Fall out
it's
if you mess
awesome to be absolutely honest with you. This is the actual MG34.
Yeah.
Um,
I bought this in 2009, I think. I bought this in 2008 or 9. I think it was 9 I bought it. It was actually at the end of the complete parts kits era, when you could get a complete complete rifle.
because this is an
For about-
8912, and
Yeah,
this
they
one's
were
an
already going up in price at the time, but this is a mismatch. It's a parcel match kit. So the serial number here matches the serial number there, but it doesn't match the serial number on the feeder tray, which is this piece right here.
Or right here.
Or on the matter of fact, the serial number here also doesn't match.
Yeah.
The buffer tube doesn't match the stock.
Yeah.
But I wanted a wooden stock and not a Bakelite stock because Chewy's DL19 was a wooden stock blaster. So I wanted to make sure I had the wood grain and all that.
Yeah.
So.
And it comes out in the Some of those of you who might have actually purchased this in the past, the wood grain actually shows up when he does the cast. I don't know how it works. It's like magic.
It is cool.
But you actually get the physical wood grain whenever he does the cast. It's really freaking cool.
I'm actually doing I am working on it again.
Okay.
The Mandalorian Pistol. And I am making wooden grips just for that same reason, because I know in the casting process, the silicone, when it's under pressure, will grab the wood grain texture.
It looks amazing.
So
like this, a cast version of this looks like wood, and it's amazing.
So every time I do this one here, it is everything's a high pressure cast. The reason why you don't see very many of these is they're expensive to make and they've been very difficult to make. And I've been wanting to totally redo the blaster.
Okay.
A different way. Like we were talking how I want this piece on here.
Yeah.
And part of this assembly. I also want to cast it with this lid off and cast this lid separate.
Okay.
You're not liking that?
I don't know if that's the best idea, but okay.
There's a few other things I want to do, but that's one of the options. Well, you know what? I may not, because the feeder tray actually hooks into it.
Like,
that right there is where the feeder tray hooks.
Idea.
I am casting it next time with the feeder tray on it. Look at the wear on that feeder tray.
That is pretty rough. I think it's been fired, but not like
this
it
thing
hasn't had that. Like, no, I'm saying that particular feeder tray, like it's been beat up, but it hasn't been beat up to the where you can see all the scratches and everything.
Now, this thing's got a lot of. It was used a lot. The barrel is non-matching. Somewhere around here, this was a Battlefield redo. Somewhere I was trying to see where a serial number was changed on this gun to match
6021.
Yeah, so the main serial number on this gun is 8912B. And like this is 1899E.
F.
Or is that F?
F.
So, and then the buttstock, it's right there.
1274 Bravo 5.
Yeah. So the main part of the gun is a matching kit. Everything else is a mismatched kit. The feeder tray doesn't match the receiver assembly, and the buttstock does not match the receiver. Also, the buffer tube does not match the assembly. The Germans were nuts, man. They put serial numbers on everything. There's serial numbers everywhere on this gun. Would redo these guns. The guy out in the field, they would have guys that would work on these. We have an unstable connection. Well, news to that ain't no news to us. So anyway, what they would do is they would change the serial numbers. That's why one of these serial numbers on here looks like it's been changed once before. And they changed the serial numbers to match. They would take a couple guns and make good guns and then rematch all the serial number parts. But anyway, so tonight's discussion is
masters.
My masters.
Obey your master.
And
No,
and there's different levels of masters.
Yep.
There is the real deal.
Yep.
Then there is
the made.
The made from scratch. There are the 3D printed.
Yep.
Which is really the end of it for me. The least thing I want to do.
Yeah, I know.
If you know what I mean. And then the high-end replicas. That's the next level. Probably under this is high-end replicas.
Yeah, I get you.
That's kind of expensive. Like the DL12, the DT12, the Greedo blaster.
Okay.
That's an all-metal airsoft.
Yep.
And that was a little over $100.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. It's a nice gun.
Mm-hmm.
And it has most of the functionality of the original, and the markings are pretty close.
Yeah.
And which is pretty cool because, which doesn't matter anyway, because you got to cover up most of those markings anyway on that. But next week we will be doing the high-end replica stuff that I do, and then the third week will be stuff that I've had to make,
So will
including
the
the
Henry
3D
be
printed.
involved in the high-end replica, or
No. I don't count the Henry survival rifle in that because it's still an actual real firearm,
So
a real item.
The Henry is kind of it's one of those that's kind of like,
You love this thing.
I do love it. For one, it was one of the first guns of Chuck's that I got to be directly involved in.
There you go. This is what you really
and then
want.
I do, because it's amazing. So this is actually the receiver, firing pin, all the stuff. This is the actual right here. That's it. And the reason why, so this is the metal one. It's actually filled with silicon right now. He's not going to be able to like pull up pins and all that stuff.
it's a real
But the thing
functioning
that I thought
firearm.
was-
It's an actual.
Peel it off. There you go.
So
It's an actual-
everything isn't, so even like this has a spot, except for like it has this barrel on it now, but it actually slides in down in here, and all of it is encased in this,
And it's
just
supposed-
right like this.
and it's supposed to float.
And you've got your
Barrel.
barrel. You've got, and there more stuff down in here.
Additional magazines.
There's additional magazines right there, slots. There's something else. Oh, I think that was it,
That's
right? It's the gun, the additional magazines, and then the barrel. All in one little convenient spot that you just sling on your hip, and then when
Or
you
throw it in a backpack, or
throw it in a
tie off
backpack.
of the backpack.
and it's pretty freaking cool. Like, for lack of a better statement, that is awesome.
So the original company that made these, and I can't remember the name of them. Somebody else say it. It was the gun was originally designed to be a survival rifle, Vietnam era. These were in fighter pilot survival kits. They ejected. They
screws right in there.
They had one of these, and it had 2 fully loaded 10-round magazines, so you had 20 shots. This is basically for hunting game or something like that. If you're out there like little game, like rabbits and
It's
squirrels.
like 22 shots.
Yeah.
22.
You could load a magazine, put it in a gun, and then put an extra magazine in the extra slot.
So you'd have 3 magazines.
So you have 30 rounds. You
Yeah.
can do that too. This one is set up with the barrel. It's the blaster barrel already attached.
And this is for when he's casting it,
Yes.
so that the barrel's already there, and all he has to do is pour it.
So originally, there's another story. And I also have a
T-rail added to the top.
a scope rail added to the top. What I originally I thought that I was going to be making a decent amount of Pondas. Turns
Honda
out,
Boba.
over the 7 years I've been making this blaster,
You made 2?
I've made 2 Pondas. So I'm going to keep the mold that's set up like this
For Pondas.
It still has enough life to do Pondas, but the next one,
I have the
it will have the E11 grip on it. And
Okay.
probably what I'm going to do, since I don't have any extra E11 grips, I'm going to take the E11 grip off of this grip assembly. Maybe not.
I was gonna say, wouldn't you just use the grip assembly you have that goes with it already?
No,
Populated
because I
in
want to
that
put the
way.
bolt in it, and I want to properly do it. I have one that I've been trying. I had a piece of wood stuck down in it, and I've been trying to get that. You've probably been here with me trying to get that apart. Anyway, I have one that has a piece of wood in it that I'm going to try maybe to.
This is, of course, for the Sterling.
This is for the Sterling and the DH-17. I used this pistol grip. It's an actual Sterling grip. I took the Sterling and Sterlings are they are what are they called? So they're soldered together. So if you take a propane torch or even MAP gas works better, you can sweat the solder and separate all the pieces. And then I married it to, I filled this with body filler, and I married it with the same tube that I use for the barrel.
Yeah.
And now when it's cast, it's a perfect fit.
Glue it on and have
Yep.
a good day.
And that's it. It's completely full of silicone. It's heavier than it really
Which, of
should.
course, is the same as what this is.
That's the magazine assembly for the
Magazine
same blaster. Yeah, the E11 and the not the DH7, the DH17. Return of the Jedi is actually not even a Sterling.
But and then this actually, I know you can't see it, but right here it actually says Sterling. It has SMG 9mm MK4L2A3, and then the number is S3767, like on it. So this is the actual
Yeah.
It's like this is metal. It was at one point an actively used or able to be used sterling part, and then now he has converted it. It's actually full of silicone. That's why it's so friggin' heavy right now.
They're all pressure cast. And during the pressure cast process, it fills all the internal voids with silicone. It just forces the silicone in everywhere. So these are permanently impregnated with silicone. This thing...
A bit of fire would work on. I mean, never mind.
This thing is permanently impregnated with silicone.
Yes. All of this is filled with silicone at this point.
It actually took us a while to assemble this gun because all the functioning parts have silicone in them.
Freaking silicone all in
So
them.
it's all gummy and really hard to...
But at the same time, when he makes these molds, like when he pulls the molds for these, you get all this detail from the manufacturer stuff in it.
Yes.
Which is actually really kind of cool.
Well, yeah, that's the thing for my point, for props. 3D prints have kind of changed everything. Like you can go out and by the end of, half of 2/3 of a roll of filament, you can have a sterling or an E11 printed, but it's not going to have the markings that like these have. The little details that I think really sells and really sells a prop.
Yeah, I get you.
That's my favorite part about using real items like this. Is there's also a history to this. This thing is already weathered. If you look right there, look at all the scratches on the magazine well. And you also, when you have an actual physical real piece in your hand, you actually notice a few differences or a few things that you wouldn't normally notice on screen, like the difference in the magazine color
versus
the magazine well. There's a big difference in the way they look. And you wouldn't know, but I've actually reproduced this look in the paint job. Actually, what I'll do is I'll paint the magazine and mask off the black resin and leave the black resin as this, and it shows all those little scratches. Oh, yeah. And you can even read the patent and all that. Out here it used to say 34 rounds sterling, and then it comes into the patent numbers. This is cut down to a 10-round magazine capacity, which is basically what they cut them down for Star Wars. They were 10-round blank firing. So that's what this is set up. But yeah, this is and I got the folding stock. I removed the folding stock, the butt cap. The rear sight has also been sweated off. So all the parts were sweated off. So I have them and they're easy to cast. The only thing that has not been taken off and it's still on the tube is because it's, I think it's machined into the tube, is the front muzzle. And the front sight. Those two pieces are together, and those are cast at two different times. To get a scope or to get a muzzle or to get the sight. So, but yeah, this is, and I also cast the button, the magazine release separately.
What else we got though?
I got down here. Counter. I have the Hengsley counter box for E11s. This is the actual counter box, and the window has been cut into it appropriate for the movie. And this is the Eagle one. This was the more rare, harder to find. Ooh. This one actually, I paid $100 for the sucker out of England. I have one. This is a great example of I just thought about it because I was looking for it and I was like, why isn't it in? I have a toolbox in the back of the shop that holds all my masters.
A lot of his masters. Sometimes they get scattered. Don't let him lie.
But I couldn't find one particular master, and it was one of the very first things I ever bought. And I was a little upset. It's like, where the hell is it? And I forgot it was
You're
ready.
making a mold.
It's ready to be
You're
cast.
literally in the process of making a mold of the MG34 scope.
It's the M38 scope.
Oh, is it the M38?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's hard to tell.
So
That's all I got. You guys got the same view I do.
that inside
He's
there,
got two scopes.
inside there is a real, actual M38 scope, circa 1942. It's stamped 1942. I bought it from England.
You started doing this a little while ago and forgot it, didn't you?
You know how this shop is. That could look like a month or it could be a day.
That's what I'm saying.
It's
I'm
been
thinking it's been
ready.
about a month.
It's been ready for about a month.
Yeah.
So the way I
There you
do
go.
these, if you ever want to know, I'm one of the things. This is a side tangent, but
Really? Us? No.
I like to make one-piece molds.
Yes.
Two-part molds
They
will
have a
last. They last longer. They're easier to demold. But a one-piece mold saves you, or it saves your top detail. I all my molds split on the bottom, and all the top detail is preserved. And on these scopes, these M38s, M19s, and all those scopes, that is important. So you still have the lettering, and I take the time to whiten, put white paint down in the lettering and everything. I want them to look as real as this one right here. For example, when they created the E11s, they just took they took military surplus, used, worn out Sterlings, modified them, and then started slapping stuff on. And
Barely modified them.
yeah, they put T-rails on it and tubes and counter
Of
boxes,
course, T-rails are, of course, we all know.
windshield wiper blades.
Windshield wiper blades.
But anyway, when they were doing so they were just grabbing these old World War II, these M38s and M19 scopes. They were part of a telescopic sight for anti-tank guns and Sherman tanks. Sherman tanks had two different optics for the gun, and one of them was a telescopic sight, and the other was I think it was
wide view one.
was it a wide view periscope style.
Mhm.
The gunners preferred the larger wide view periscope. They both had range indicators on them. They both had, it's just one was tied in literally with the barrel, and the other one was also would tie in with the barrel, but one of them was a line of sight. It was almost like a bore sight.
One, you had to be looking through the gun so people could shoot you, and the other one, you didn't quite have to be.
No, they both work the same. It's just it was almost a redundant system, really. But anti-tank guns use the same setup. They didn't use the periscopes like the Sherman tanks, so they used a lot of these M19s, M38s. It was all different pieces, and these were just only a piece of a sighting apparatus. They weren't the entire deal. This one even has range markings in it. You can't tell now because it's completely full of
I
silicone.
was gonna say,
No, but there's elevation markings on this one too. Yeah. But you can't get a good clear picture when you look through it because this is only a part of the optics. But anyway, so when they were making E11s, like for A New Hope, they were just grabbing these old, a lot of that military equipment was being scrapped, and people were unbolting these things, and you could probably find these scopes laying around in surplus depots and they were dirt cheap. So they just grabbed them, had a box full of them, and they just slap them on. That's why in A New Hope, you will find M38s, M42s, M19s. I think there's several different versions. You'll find some of them will have a machined area for a collar to fit on them. That's like the M42 is like that. But traditionally, we've pretty much stuck with the M38 and the M19.
yeah.
The M38 and the M19 were just two of a dozen different versions of these little scopes. And the M19 has two different versions. It also, M19 has an illuminated version and a non-illuminated version. The illuminated version is on the Han Solo blaster.
Okay.
The only reason you can tell is because of that little ring. It's got that brass ring on the side. That's for a light bulb to go in. But there is an M19 that was not illuminated.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And then, so we've got one more piece sitting over here on our far, far left.
Who remembers the 70s?
So, well, no, those were in the 80s too. They had some of these in the 80s. They were very similar.
So this is the Max for Men hair dryer. This hair dryer, we kind of have a dead audience tonight.
We have a dead audience, but
Yeah.
it's we can still have our conversations.
Because for all of you guys that didn't show up tonight, someone else could see it, or they'll see it. So anyway, some of you may recognize this as, or you may not recognize this as anything, but this is the part that holds the blade on a vibro axe from Return of the Jedi. And it was just a hair dryer.
Just a hair dryer.
Just a hair dryer. And it fit on a 3/4 inch dowel rod, just perfect. I think when they assembled them in the movie or the prop department.
Oh, Matt Keith says my dad had one of those hair dryers.
Yeah. You can get actually a decent amount of money out of these, Matt. I was lucky. Hayden and I went thrift store shopping one day, and we found 3 in one shot. Nice. There was a thrift store that had 3 boxes of hair dryers, and all the cords were all mangled and hooked together. We took those boxes one by one and just dumped them out on the floor, and we found 3 of these in there.
Nice.
Paid $2 a piece for them, and I sold the other 2 that I did not use on eBay.
Probably for not enough. Knowing you,
I think I got like $50 out of each one of them.
I think you could have got more.
Hey, turning $6 into $100. Come on.
Okay. It's a little bit better, I think.
So you remember when I was down in lockdown with my grandfather?
Yes.
And I was thinking about projects, and the only project I did during that time was the Greedo Killer project. Remember that?
I do.
Have I showed you this? Have you ever seen this?
I do not know what this is, so I have to say no.
I found a lot of vintage scope rings.
I do know what we're about to see.
And I found a lot of weavers.
Yep.
And one of the scope mounts in here was the exact, here it is. There it is. That's Han Solo's scope mount right there.
Yay.
With this there. That you have to have that though.
Well, yeah, but you already got it on this one.
Yeah, I know. Because I have 2 of those. But they had mismatched rings. And I had to get the right ring. They had mismatched tie downs, but this is the proper tie down for Han Solo. So I took its brother, and I actually took one of the screws because it was missing one of the screws. So I took one of the screws out of here, made a complete one, cast it. Then I took the casting and then stuck one casting one on the scope and then the real one on the scope, and then cast the scope with that on it.
Nice.
I was very proud of myself.
Sometimes
you
have a decent idea.
But anyway, I found this right here. I paid like $12 for this thing. I was just you can't imagine.
So there's some really cool stuff in there.
No, and there's still more in here that are Star Wars accurate. I didn't get just the one I needed, which $12 getting the one scope mount. Technically, I had 2 scope mounts or scope rings that were accurate for the
Star
Han
Wars,
Solo blaster. But not just getting that, I just got
so many minutes.
And this is
cool
also,
things.
if you look, this is also the one that's used on a DH-17. And this is not a Weaver. A lot of these that they used were Japanese knockoff ones of Weavers. Like
Weaver, of course, being the brand.
It's a brand, yeah.
Just for those of us who aren't 100% on that. I've heard this story before, so I actually knew what was going on.
Yeah. Yeah. There are Weavers in here. There's a Weaver. Made in the USA.
Made in the US of A. Weaver. 1 inch. Weaver, 1 inch USA.
These are all 1 inches.
Just saying, that's what it says.
So anyway, somebody had a collection. I read the whole synopsis, and they were the guy that owned the collection, the gun collection. They were selling off his collection, and then he had all these miscellaneous parts, and they put them in the lots. And I knew they had them all laid out, and I positively, absolutely, visually identified the one I wanted and bought it.
Like if I was ever gonna buy a gun, I think it would be this.
Yeah.
Just because it's cool.
Okay. Do you know how the preppers?
Come on, right?
Do you know how the preppers stuff has been?
I could be a prepper. I could be a prepper.
Okay, over the last, what has it been? 10 years the prepper movement's been happening?
Maybe
longer?
Yeah, a little
About
bit
10
longer.
years it's been,
Before they were considered conspiracy theorists, though.
yeah, weekend warriors and all that kind of. So anyway, I bought that before the whole prepper thing became a thing. And since the prepper thing has become a thing, that gun, when I bought it, was $99 plus tax. I walked out of the store with this gun for $119 after paying all the other stuff you have to pay. Today, base retail on this gun, I think is like $300. It's the same damn gun. It should not have gone up 200%.
I'll let you know in a second. I'm looking it up. You can get it at Bass Pro. Apparently. $319.
There you go.
Jesus Christ.
$200 more than what I paid for it 15 years ago. God, I should have bought 10 of these. So yeah, they've gone up over the years, just a little bit, yeah. So original parts, original pieces. It's the hardest, most expensive way to get an item, but in the end, it makes the best replica. It makes the best prop.
Well, it makes the best prop replica.
I can
You're
3D
right,
print an M38 or an M19 scope
Yeah.
all day long. And you know what's funny? The dimensions are always just a little bit off. They're either a little bit short, a little bit, the diameter is a little bit off. The feet are not right. Like the guys that 3D model this stuff, they actually don't even realize and don't know that the bolt holes on an M38 and an M19 are slightly offset.
You're not going to be able to see it from
You're not
there.
you can see it in the back. It's the back. The back foot is offset, and it's because of the mounting system that they used. So when you get a 3D printed one, everything is perfectly in line and everything. So to make up for that, the Han Solo DL44s ESB versions, the ears on Han Solo's custom made scope mount, they're not exactly even. They're not exactly the same length, those ears that come out, because the scope footprint is a little bit different.
Okay.
So the front footprint is a little bit wider than the rear footprint. So what happens is the rear foot on the scope mount actually should be a tad bit shorter. And that's a little bit of information that nobody knows.
Nice.
Because basically they put it all together, built it, and said, that looks like crap. That's hanging over the edge. Now it's nice and flush and looks good.
There you go. That'll look perfect now.
But no one knows that. If you put it, if the feet were exactly, the ears on the scope mount were exactly the same, and you put the ears level, even with the edges, the scope would turn inwards. Yeah. So, little piece of useless knowledge. And you wouldn't have the proper markings. You'll have a generally good looking. I have nothing wrong with 3D prints, except for 3D prints don't have the character and the markings and the proper detail of the original.
Or the weight.
Or the weight. And you know what? In all honesty,
even these don't have the weight to them. A prop. Well, I mean, no, I'm talking about the props. After you've cast this, the prop is still half the weight.
Yeah, it's about half the weight.
It's about half the weight of this. So, but at the same time, so you take this versus a 3D print. The 3D print, I could chuck it like a football and be able to toss it at least 30 yards. Whereas this, I'd be able to go 3 feet.
You could hit Hayden with it.
Okay, 6 feet. But the resin, it's a matter of weight, and for some people, if you ever held a 3D one versus a resin one, you can feel like there is a heft to it, that it's not so heavy that you can't hold it all day long, but it's also not so light that you're like, I've got nothing.
I think having sometimes light is sometimes too light is not. It just doesn't. It doesn't register right with your brain. You know what I mean? You give somebody, if you hand someone like a beautifully painted 3D printed gun, you can't really tell exactly what it is since they've done such a really good job. And you hand it to them, they're expecting to get something, and it just, whoa, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
If I hand you this, the weight would actually probably surprise you. I think people are not experienced holding this. You're like, here, dude. Like, whoa, fuck, And then I like mine because they're. This is all solid resin. The barrel is PVC. The ends are. All these pieces are in the kit, and they do have some weight. This piece right here probably weighs about maybe 3/4 of a pound, probably a little bit less than a pound, but it has all this in here, and then we drill these out.
So we said this is about, I think it's about 17, 18 pounds personally.
It's right around that range.
But the resin one is only about,
That's about
8 to 10.
Yeah, it's about
Some of that.
7 pounds. Yeah. Most of the weight is right. I do
because
remember.
of this, that
remember
was
John,
super heavy.
John was running
From here to here,
He
super
was
heavy.
Remember John was Forstner ran Forstner bits
All the way down
to
through it.
take weight out of this gun,
Yep.
because this is by far the heaviest prop I make. Now the heaviest unbalanced prop I make is the Vibro Axe.
Yes.
But it's so beautiful.
It does.
It is
look
a
really cool.
it is a very
The Vibro
nice,
Axe is the Vibro Axe from Java's Palace that is some of his guards use.
yeah. It's
It has the Nikto is the one that used to come with back in the day.
I make a Vibro Axe kit. I don't really offer it on any of the websites. It's kind of a comment. It was a Celebration 6.
5.
No, it was 6. It was the Vibro Axe and the DL18 Skiff Guard Blaster. That was all made at the same time for Celebration 6. And we're still running those same molds.
Yeah.
That was a good.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
It's still one of my favorite blasters. I've got a special, Chuck made me a special one for my birthday. That's a rifle, and I've got it. And my wife has one.
It's a carbine.
Mine's a carbine. Sorry. It
Short
looks,
barrel,
It looks cool as
butt
shit.
stock.
It looks cool as shit. Sir?
But one thing I do like about, sorry,
I know
he's ready. Matt's ready to go to sleep. I've showed you this before.
I'm super. No, I'm not ready to. First off, I'm not ready to go to sleep. I'm super stoked that he has something that, he's he had stuff prepped. He was ready to go. You can see that he had shit to do, right? This is awesome. I don't know half of it, so I can only give smart ass comments every once in a while. So that's why I'm like.
So, there's character in these. Since it's a real world item,
Okay.
I mean, this thing, I always said I'm hoping this thing was on the
battlefield. Yeah, I get you.
the Russian front, not the American front, but the American and British. But so here's this thing. We kind of assumed that we were going to go to war with Russia not long after World War II.
Okay.
So we disarmed Germany, but we didn't throw their guns away. We packed them away to rearm Germany with their own guns if we ever had to fight Russia.
Okay.
That's why a lot of these and a lot of Mausers and all that, that's why everything was saved. We didn't do that with Japan. We just took them and dropped everything in Tokyo Harbor by the boatload. Just all their munitions and guns and war material was dumped in the ocean or melted down. German stuff, we kept it so it would be cheaper to outfit the Germans to help us fight the Russians if we had to after World War II with their own equipment. And we also saw the value in their equipment. I mean, this gun is still on the battlefield somewhere in the world today. We already know there's a version of the MG42 serving in several modern militaries today, still out there today.
With probably able to just swap out parts with this
I don't
thing.
know about swapping out parts.
I think you could, because you got to think most of these, especially with the design that
what
they
happened
populated.
was these were such a good design. A lot of the tooling was already in like countries like Yugoslavia. This is actually a Yugoslavian MG34. This one was made in 1943. There you go. See, there's 1943.
Yep.
This is a Yugo. So after the war ended, a lot of that tooling stayed, and they just started making the same guns without a lot of the German proof marking. That's all German World War II proof marks, even right here.
Yeah, I get you.
They took the eagles off, all that
Gee,
stuff.
why would they do that?
Yeah, even this one, even a bipod, a stamped sheet metal piece has a little eagle right there on it.
Mhm.
You got it?
Yeah, you see it right there?
Yeah, I see it.
There's one right there too. Or is there not one there? There should be one right there. Right.
Well, there is a little eagle.
Yeah.
You know what that makes Chuck, right, ladies and gentlemen?
A Nancy.
A Nazi!
We got a helmet that's got one on it too.
Yeah,
He's a Nazi.
we do have a helmet that came from
Deutschland.
no, it came from
Where's Two Bear?
it was captured in Italy.
Two Bear. I'm just saying.
No. So
With his baseball bat.
So this piece and even this right here, it has a little bit of character. There's some history to this gun, which I think is really neat. Oh, and they all have their own serial numbers. So if you get one of my blasters, if you wanted to compare, just walking around at cons, you can just look at scope mount blaster scopes. Matter of fact, my TK number in the 501st is
Your MG34 scope?
no, my M38 scope.
38.
The M38 scope is serial number is my TK number. And
I was
that
aware of that, but I just figured it'd be nice.
33857. No, these grips on this are Bakelite. Somewhere along the line, someone cleaned this gun during World War II, I imagine, with something they shouldn't have, and left a thumbprint in the Bakelite. There is an actual thumbprint on this side in the Bakelite. I mean, it's probably been there since 44, 45, 43. This gun, obviously, when I unpacked it, it was actually wrapped in Cosmoline. The only thing that was not in Cosmoline was the lower receiver, because it had to be demilled, because they're not going to sell me a fully functional MG34.
Why not?
They sold me all the parts. I have everything from a 75 round belt, the bolts, the charging handle. I have all the buffer springs.
If you put the whole thing together and made it a fire, we could pay. People would pay us to fire it.
It'd probably be worth close. I don't know what. Someone
People
told me.
would pay us.
Someone told me
to
if
buy
this
it.
fired, it would be worth about 25,000. Just basic.
I know, but people would pay $300 just to fire the damn thing 75 rounds.
I know. The barrel. There is. I even have all the pieces.
Although
up
right
here.
now that would not be enough, because the price of ammunition is way too
Price
high
of
right now.
ammunition. Yeah. This right here. There's a little cone that fits on the end of the barrel, and this is to adjust the barrel, the different barrels that you might put in it.
Yeah.
Click, click, click,
Click, click, click, click, click, click, click.
So you see how that worked. See, you can actually kind of see it. Actually, if I keep my arm, hold on, give me that.
Yeah, wait. You've got your own right in front of you.
I know. See that? If you watch, see that little piece click, click,
They
click.
can see it. They can see
Okay.
it.
You want to know something's cool? And how
Sure.
the A&H Han Solo Hero
Sure, Bob.
works has compared to that. Oh shoot! I don't have one. Oh wait, I do. Hayden,
What?
right behind you, left side, lower side. Yeah, bring that over.
Where are you?
So, for all you fun guys who love DL44s and history lessons,
Is that a mushroom?
this
Fun guy?
fungi. This is a A&H Han Solo Hero flash suppressor, but it is also an MG18 flash suppressor. And you see those right there?
It's the same one.
It's the same deal as this. Click, 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 to adjust the barrels. So if you ever want to know what the...
So what does that do exactly on the barrel? Like,
there's a cone. Okay, the end of the barrel is dished.
yeah. And
then there's a cone with two separate surfaces here and here. When the barrel goes in, the barrel has to go in and it goes in home. It's head spacing. It's all technical, but there is a procedure to dial in a barrel, and it's done on a battlefield, and it's very simple. You just click, 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 and you get
until it goes.
Yeah,
clink.
There's a process, and honestly, the training manual or the training video to do that with this gun is on YouTube. It's in German, but it's the actual video that taught you how to operate this gun. It's on YouTube. It also tells you pull the charging lever back and then bring it back home, because if you don't, you pull the trigger, it's going to break your thumb.
Wow.
Because the bolt, once you charge the bolt, you put the charging lever back forward, and it doesn't cycle. You know, a lot of machine guns, it charges it, grabs it. When you go to charge it, it grabs the bolt, charges the bolt, and then goes back to home, and it never touches the bolt again until you need to charge it.
Yep.
But if you pull it back and you pull it forward and fire, that bolt is going to come right across and could hurt you. And another more common thing would happen is you would break the charging lever, and then you're kind of screwed.
No more gun.
No more gun. They're just going to give you a charging lever. And funny thing is, the kit, this gun, came with a broken charging lever. That exact same thing happened, and they sent this gun came with a broken charging lever. But yeah, and it's got like this little tempered spring thing that keeps it. It's a cool design. They always said that when the Germans made this, they were just showing off. And the MG42 came along, and it was stamped, and everything was done a lot simpler and easier and faster. I think they started to make this gun. They started with 200 pounds of steel to make a 26-pound gun. So yeah. Let's just start stamping all these parts out of sheet metal. But anyway, I like it. Like I said, pieces with a little bit of history behind them, like this. It adds character to the prop.
Yeah.
You know, when I hand it to somebody and it's like, "Hey, dude, look right here. There's a thumbprint right there." It's like, "Oh wow!" I said, "I wonder if that thumbprint was put on there." You see it? I think it's on the other side. It might be on this side. Nope, it's on the other side.
With a monitor.
Ugh. It's on the other side, but it's a thumbprint, probably from a German soldier.
It's possible.
Which I think is cool. We next week, I think we're about done. You about done? You got anything to add?
I don't. I like this one. I thought it was cool.
Yes.
That's all I got.
So next week, we will be doing
salute.
Yeah. Next week, we'll be following this topic. Also, next week's topic will be high-end replicas.
Salute to more power.
It'll be a two-part high-end replicas and copies of original pieces. That's another option that I do use to get accurate parts to make these blasters. For me, the most accurate and the best way is the original parts. A Sterling without a real Sterling grip, or without a real Sterling magazine, or a real Sterling folding stock.
Doesn't have the same.
To me, it doesn't look and feel the same.
Gotcha.
This one here, this MG34, this is kind of like the ultimate item. You know what I'm saying? This is the most
only to fill it full of silica.
Only to fill it full of silica. It can be stripped down and cleaned out, and which it will be. coming up sometime this year. It's not a huge priority, but I want to go through and recast this gun one more time. I was never 100% happy with the old molds. I want to make really good molds. I learned a lot the last time I cast this gun, and I want to take what I learned and make a better set of molds. One thing that once that is done, the first set of molds, the first set of casts that come out of this gun for this gun
your new master.
are going to be the new masters, and this is going to be preserved and put in
The
storage.
wood needs to be preserved for real.
Yes, it's going to be preserved. I'm gonna put it away, keep it safe. That or I might sell it. Although Hayden and I had a discussion, and he said the house wouldn't feel the same without an MG34 in it.
I get it. I get it.
We don't. He's like, hey, you know, my dad's got. He's never done anything like that. He just likes the fact it's around.
Makes complete sense.
If he wants to just pick
Complete
it up
sense.
and hold it and just mess with it, he can. And he just.
Everybody else out there, you know, I'm gangster. I'm gangster. I'm gangster.
I
And then
told him.
he just picks this up. I'm gangster.
I told him last year.
It's a whole new gangster.
I
Back in the
was-
20s, we had.
I told him last year I was thinking about putting it all together and selling, doing one more set of molds off of it and selling it.
Mhm.
And he was like, I don't know, Dad. I just, and then we were at dinner. He's like, I just don't think home would feel like home without that in it.
I get it. I get it.
So it was fun. But yeah, the wood was like that. It got super hot. However, it's stored.
It's
years
still
ago.
it. I mean, don't get me wrong. It makes a great pull,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it does need some care and attention because you got some splitting. You've got some other stuff going
Yeah.
on with the wood.
Yeah. I'll probably might take it off the buffer tube and kind of glue that all back together, reinforce it.
Okay.
So anyway, next week we will be doing my high-end replica stuff.
Salute to high-end replicas.
The higher-end replicas is this whole month's going to be discussion about my prop masters. I hope to see you guys out next week. I love talking about this. This is my real passion.
Yeah.
Is the prop making process and the real items process.
Yep.
You know, I have the real one, so everybody can have a really high end or
Prop.
high quality
Prop.
Yes, exactly.
Sure.
My goal is always. I mean, I can't always spend $1,000 to put a gun kit together. For reference, I have never made any money on this kit. I am still way in the hole.
But he's never been happier about it.
No, it's still one of my favorite things. I wish I had the money to pick up a Lewis gun.
That would be kind of
Yeah. So next week will be high ends, and then the week after that, I think will be the things I have to make and the process of going about making it. That will include the lathes, both lathes, the wood lathe and the metal lathe, and it will also include 3D printing. So
Sounds great.
sounds like fun. And
won't
next
be here.
week, Matt will not be here next week or the following week, but you'll be here for the end of the month.
Maybe.
Okay. We haven't, next week we will iron out what the contest this month will be, what the giveaway will be, whether it will be another one of these guys, just because we got them laying around, or I don't know.
We'll figure it
We've
out.
gone through most of the
Figure it out.
stuff laying around.
Yep.
I kind of wish that actually opened up.
Charged.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll see
All
you guys next week. And good night.
Good night, everybody. Bye.